The atmosphere around international rugby has suddenly become electric again, and all eyes are now turning toward Johannesburg, where one of rugby's fiercest battles is about to explode back into life. Even though England arrive in South Africa carrying the scars of a painful Six Nations campaign, Rassie Erasmus is refusing to underestimate them for even a second. In fact, the Springboks coach believes this wounded England squad could actually be more dangerous than ever before. The world champions know exactly what kind of storm is coming their way at Ellis Park, and that realization alone has already added fuel to one of rugby's greatest rivalries. The Springboks may have crushed the Barbarians with a brutal 80-31 performance in their warm-up match, looking every bit like the unstoppable powerhouse the rugby world fears. But Erasmus understands that form means very little once the whistle blows in a test match against England. Across the rugby world, critics have been piling pressure onto Steve Borthwick and his England squad after a miserable run of defeats that left fans frustrated and angry. For straight losses in the Six Nations created headlines filled with doubt, criticism, and questions about England's future. But inside the England camp, something very different has been happening. Quietly and carefully, Borthwick has started reshaping his squad, bringing in fresh energy, fearless young talent, and players desperate to prove they belong on the biggest stage in world rugby. The inclusion of uncapped players like Noah Kaliori, George Kloska, Greg Fizolo, Vilakazi Sila, and Benhard Jans van Rensburg signals a clear shift in England's direction. These are hungry players with everything to gain and absolutely nothing to lose. Add the emotional return of Emmanuel Fewaboso, who missed the Six Nations through injury, and suddenly England look less like a broken side and more like a team preparing for a fresh beginning. It's exactly this unpredictability that worries Erasmus the most. A young team can be reckless, fearless, and incredibly dangerous because they play without the burden of past failures weighing on their shoulders. Speaking ahead of the massive clash, Erasmus admitted he sees enormous quality within the England squad despite the negativity surrounding them. He pointed out that the average age of the squad sits around 27 years old, but with more than 30 test caps on average, it's a team filled with both youth and valuable experience. That balance is something every coach dreams of having. Young enough to play with intensity and speed, yet experienced enough to survive pressure moments in hostile stadiums. According to Erasmus, England are far from weak. In fact, he believes they are entering a dangerous phase where they could surprise many people. The tension surrounding this test grows even stronger because both teams are entering periods of transition. England have chosen to rest some of their biggest stars, including captain Maro Itoje, with veteran hooker Jamie George stepping into the leadership role. But South Africa are doing something similar themselves. Key Springbok figures such as Faf de Klerk and Vincent Koch have also been rotated as the Boks begin planning for future challenges, including their upcoming blockbuster rivalry series against New Zealand. This means both teams are balancing the pressure to win now while also preparing for the future of their national sides. And that is what makes this match so fascinating. It's not simply about winning or losing. It's about identity. It's about direction. It's about proving something to the rugby world. For England, this is an opportunity to silence critics who believe the team is falling apart. For South Africa, it's a chance to remind everyone why they remain the kings of world rugby. Ellis Park itself only adds to the drama. The stadium is one of rugby's most intimidating arenas, sitting at altitude, packed with passionate fans, and carrying decades of history within its walls. Visiting teams know they are stepping into hostile territory the moment they walk onto that field. But pressure creates heroes, and England's younger players now have the opportunity of a lifetime. Imagine running out in front of thousands of screaming South African supporters while facing the reigning world champions. For some players, that kind of environment becomes overwhelming. For others, it creates legends. Borthwick knows this tour could shape the future of English rugby for years to come. That's why he has focused heavily on changing the culture within the squad. Instead of fear and negativity, he wants belief, resilience, and togetherness. He understands that talent alone is never enough at test level. Mentality decides everything. Meanwhile, the Springboks are entering this contest with the confidence of champions. Their physicality remains unmatched. Their squad depth is terrifying, and under Erasmus, they have developed a ruthless winning mentality. Yet even champions know danger when they see it. The biggest mistake any top team can make is underestimating an opponent desperate to prove themselves. That's why the South African camp is treating England with total seriousness despite recent results. Behind closed doors, the Boks understand this could become one of the toughest battles of the year. As kickoff approaches, excitement continues building across the rugby world. Fans are already debating whether England's young squad can survive the brutal intensity South Africa will bring. Some believe the Springboks will dominate physically from the very first minute. Others think England's fresh faces could produce the fearless rugby needed to shock the champions. And honestly, that uncertainty is exactly what makes sport so addictive. Nobody truly knows what will happen once these two giants collide. One thing, however, is guaranteed. This will not simply be another rugby match. It will be a collision of pride, pressure, ambition, and legacy. Every tackle will matter. Every mistake will be punished. Every moment could change the story of the game. For England, this is a chance to rise from disappointment and begin a new chapter. For South Africa, it is another opportunity to prove why the rugby world continues to chase them. And for fans watching around the world, Ellis Park is ready to deliver another unforgettable night of drama, passion, and world-class rugby.